Growing up, I was always really into drawing, making collages, drawing people on the subway. As I got older, I really wanted to be an artist, but I couldn't figure out really how I'd make a living doing it. I started working in finance. I moved to New York, and I thought maybe I'll try to make a bunch of money in the beginning and then retire early and be an artist after that. And then I started to see more and more new media art. So people using technology to make sculptures, to make interactive artwork. It really seemed like it had a place in the future. It spurred me to quit what I was doing and start making art. My name is Jason Krugman, and I'm a light sculptor. I call myself a light sculptor because I primarily work with LEDs, and it's almost like weaving with electricity, and then I sculpt with it. This sculpture is called Basket. There are about 3,000 LEDs and is using much less than a single 40-watt incandescent bulb. That got me into thinking about the way that electronics relate to the natural world. It's inspired by these tiny little microscopic creatures called diatoms, and also radiolarians. They're incredible because they have these beautiful symmetries. The way that I first learned about them was by looking at drawings by Ernst Haeckel. Haeckel was amazing because he documented many different types of species, kind of on par with Darwin in terms of his contribution to documenting life. What's really amazing about them is you can see how efficient their bodies are. Seeing a living creature that it almost looks like a calculus equation really ties in the idea of structuring things so that they're efficient, and in that efficiency, finding beauty.
Right now I'm sitting in my studio, which is housed at New Lab in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. New Lab is a platform for scaling frontier technologies and champions the world's most forward-thinking entrepreneurs. We recently expanded into a new fabrication workshop here, where we will build huge sculptures that weigh thousands of pounds.
So this is the new fab space. We're building 20 light sculptures here in about 2 months. And we're going to start cutting, gluing leaves now.
We were lucky enough to find a great warehouse space across the street at the Cumberland Packing Corp, where they used to pack all of the sweet and low and sugar in the raw packets that people like to put in their coffee. It was a great space, a little weird because sometimes when someone would sweep the floor or move something, you could get a very faint taste of a sweet and low. It was pretty gross. We built tables, we set up saws, we set up basically a whole wood shop, and so we were able to get a ton done in a very short amount of time. When we're fabricating these sculptures, we try to design the process and the tools to be as efficient as possible. One person can go and make 1,000 cuts in one day. We have a good team of people working on a variety of machinery. So cutting and spot welding thousands and thousands of stainless steel tubes without having noticeable weld marks on the outside that needed to be cleaned up. Cleaning welds takes a lot of time. A lot of my artwork is about making things that are very delicate, where the entire structure is revealed. And so when I'm making artworks for outdoors or for much larger spaces, I have to think about how am I going to continue with the same type of aesthetic vocabulary and form, but working with materials that allow it to hold up to the environment. I'm currently in the midst of a big project making permanent outdoor light sculptures for a sculpture park in Jeju Island, South Korea. It's a new sculpture park that's being converted from a green tea farm. It's about 50 acres. There'll be a path that people walk along and they'll encounter different artworks. The idea that it's really important to take people kind of on a gradual roller coaster so that they're not overstimulated and that their mind and their eyes and their emotions have enough time to reset. One of the sculptures that I'm most excited to see, it's a light sculpture, but it's entirely based on reflected light, which I think is a really elegant way of making light artwork that lasts really well outdoors. It's my first time acting as a curator, but also as a producer and an artist. The two artists that I invited with me are Tom Fruin and Jen Lewin. Jen Lewin is a Brooklyn-based artist. She is well known for making a series of works called The Pool, in which there are dozens of circular platforms outdoors. People are invited to play and dance to create an interactive playground that's both an artwork and an activity. The other artist who I brought in is named Tom Fruin, and he has some really beautiful big light sculptures that he makes in the form of stained glass water towers and greenhouses, and I think are some of the nicest pieces of public art that I've ever seen. At night, it's going to be absolutely stunning. The whole thing is about creating these amazing, interesting spaces that people are going to really want to fly to Jeju to see. You're looking down over this rolling hills with green tea, and you see the ocean in the distance. So at night, when there are light sculptures scattered throughout the landscape, it's going to feel really magical.